So, you want to be a dictator, huh?
Dass ich fleißig gewesen bin, dass ich gearbeitet habe, dass ich mich in diesen Jahren für dich eingesetzt habe.
Looking at all these guys running around and thinking to yourself, that looks fun. Well, luckily for you, with our easy 6-step plan, you too could be a dictator in no time. This is how to become a dictator. Step 1. Be a weird freak. One of the telltale signs of dictators is what is called the dark triad. The dark triad is a trio of shady but not so clinically insane personality traits. Narcissism, all about look at me. Machiavellianism, being a master manipulator, and psychopathy, like a psycho, cold, risk-taking, zero remorse. Coined in 2002, these traits are linked by low empathy and agreeableness. Being weird about women is also very common for dictators. According to one of Hitler's childhood friends, Hitler had a massive crush on a girl named Stephanie. We all know about how Hitler was rejected by that art school, but he was also apparently afraid of rejection from girls too, as he never told Stephanie about his feelings towards her. It's not that hard to imagine how a narcissist might not do well with rejection. Apparently, young Adolf imagined kidnapping Stephanie and committing suicide together. So I guess he kind of got to live out his romantic fantasy with Eva Braun. There are lots of photos of Hitler as an older man around young women, kind of putting his hand on them, and it's like, oh, get away from her, get a job. Donald Trump, just as a random example, has at least 24 different allegations of sexual misconduct. Step 2. Get into power. The next and probably most important thing you're going to need to do is get into power, either as the president or as close to the president as you can get. You can totally scheme up from like a vice president position or whatever. It's been done, but it's better to aim for the top. There are a few different ways to achieve this step. The most common is to throw a coup, like Augusto Pinochet. In the early 1970s, Chile was in chaos. Prices were skyrocketing, shelves were empty, and strikes were happening left and right. To restore order, or so they said, the government put General Augusto Pinochet in charge of the army. Big mistake. On September 11, 1973, Pinochet turned around and led a violent military coup. With help from other top brass, he overthrew President Salvador Allende. What happened was brutal. Thousands of Allende supporters were arrested, tortured, or killed. Pinochet wasted no time seizing power. He shut down Congress, banned political parties, censored the press, and declared a state of emergency. By 1974, he declared himself supreme leader and officially assumed the title of president. President, supreme leader. Okay. Another way to get into power is to win an election, like Putin, who in his most recent, very legitimate election got 90% of the vote. Wow! But now that you're in power, you're gonna have to make sure everyone is on the same page. Step 3, eliminate any competition. You can't have haters around you, bro. You can't. They'll jack up your dictator vibe so fast. Former president of Iraq, Saddam Hussein, assumed full power in 1979 in a televised coup. A man that has been tortured by Saddam Hussein stands at a podium in front of the members of the Iraqi Ba'ath Party and confesses he is a traitor working for the Syrians and he was on a mission to destroy Iraqi power. Massive finger quotes around all of this, by the way. The quote-unquote Syrian traitor then starts naming names. Every time he names someone, guards come and pull that guy from the crowd to be taken away and executed. Then Saddam takes it even further. He hands guns to the men who weren't dragged off, making them the firing squad, all while he watches on, smoking a cigar, kind of chilling. Now, any political rivals have been eliminated, their positions to be replaced by Saddam loyalists, or quite often just like his family and his friends. And anyone who thought, I might try and fight that guy is no longer gonna do it. No, they are scared now. Of course, if you have family members that won't fall in line, you can always have them assassinated at the airport, like Kim Jong-un. If you had lackeys in positions of institutional power, there are more legitimate ways of being granted totalitarian control, without executing a bunch of people in a televised event. For example, President Donald Trump filled the Supreme Court with his guys. Then last year, the Supreme Court ruled that he had presumptive immunity from criminal liability for his official acts and absolutely immune for some core of them. How convenient! Step 4. Have iconic hair or facial hair. I honestly don't know why this is so essential, but it is. Step 5, the cult of personality. Okay, so you did it. You got in power. You got rid of the naysayers. You're a dictator. Congratulations. Now you're gonna wanna be beloved by as many people as possible. Instilling in the public a sense of mystic beliefs is a great way to ensure their loyalty. Of course, the North Koreans have processions where they worship their supreme leader Kim Jong-un, but it's not just everyday celebrity worship like you might see at a Beyonce concert. Though it isn't official government doctrine, the North Korean public are fed a healthy diet of info about how their leaders are divine in nature and are akin to gods. Some still believe that Kim Il-sung is the forever president and rules on high with his son Kim Jong-il. Now, for those who are well informed, you may recall that both of those guys are dead, but the idea that the Kim dynasty isn't just a series of nepo babies, but actually a godlike bloodline worthy of pseudo-religious praise helps in their reverence and stops a lot of criticism of the regime. Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il, Kim Jong-un, Holy Trinity, right? Step 5, just keep babbling. You're killing it as dictator. Now you're gonna wanna never shut up. You have to keep the public in a constant state of stressed out confusion. Remember, it's way easier to lie than it is to debunk lies. You gotta lie. Lie big and small. And honestly, you don't even have to be that good at it either. You just need the audacity to do it. This is all straight out of the 1984 playbook. The Ministry of Truth isn't about truth at all. It rewrites history, spins propaganda, and erases anything that makes the party look bad. If Big Brother says it didn't happen, it didn't. Its real job is warping reality so no one really knows what's real anymore. A great way to approach this tactic is to accuse your enemies of things you are guilty of. One of the big reasons why Trump needed to be elected was there were all of these pedos in the American government. We had to get them out. They were on this thing called the Epstein list, and Trump was gonna expose all of them.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Of course, Trump is in power now and he could release the files, but he's way too busy. And oh yeah, the files never actually even existed in the first place. So don't worry. The inherent contradiction at the core of fascism is that you have to portray yourself simultaneously as being really strong and powerful. And then if anyone is mean to you, then you're a poor, put upon little baby. They're all coming to get me. My beloved people, you belong to the greatest nation on earth. You are so mighty and sexy that you are basically untouchable. However, a faction of evildoers of nebulous origin means to eradicate you, and you should be absolutely terrified of them. But don't worry, all we need to do is for me to consolidate more power. To do so, you should like and subscribe. Step 6, screw it all up. Look, the reality is you can only get so far being a dick. Eventually, all dictatorships come to an end because they are inherently antisocial. Dictators fall because fear only works for so long. Eventually, cracks start to show, economic collapse, internal power struggles, angry citizens who've had enough, or even betrayal from your own inner circle. The problem with ruling through paranoia and control is that it breeds resentment, not loyalty. So there you have it, your crash course in becoming a full-blown dictator. Just remember, paranoia is your best friend. Reality is optional, but facial hair is somehow crucial. If you like this video, check out one I did recently on who's got all the nukes. Because who's got all the nukes? Turns out a lot of people got a lot of nukes. Bye!